What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, we've talked a lot on this channel about like the current player base, what the numbers are, but I actually haven't jumped into the dashboard here on Peak Monsters in a bit. Shout out to Peak Monsters for sharing all of this data with us. So we haven't jumped in here in a bit to actually see what these numbers look like and how they've trended over the past couple of weeks and months. So right off the bat, I'm just going to go to the most recent day here, May 26th, 2024. And this is actually the all-time low that I've seen in daily active accounts, or at least active accounts for a single day, 13,367. Now, we've had a couple of other close calls. I think this was like 13,500, 13,600. But aside from that, everything else has been either the mid-teens or low 20s, right? Of course, we'll have some days where, this is like 30,000 here. And then we have these major outliers, which I'm assuming have to be some kind of account consolidation, because I don't know any kind of bot farm that would like turn on their accounts, like 90,000 or 100,000 accounts, just to have them play one day and then have them turn off, right? So my guess is that we're seeing a lot of account consolidation happen. And when you look at this across the past like 3 months first, for example, you can see there's definitely a shift, right? We were seeing like in the 30,000 daily active accounts, now obviously much lower. And then if you go 6 months ago, which is roughly when, not Chaos Agent, but Rebellion came out, it was even higher than that, right? So we were trending in the upper 30s, low 40s, but you can see there's been a very clear decline in the number of active accounts. You take out, especially if you take out all of these outliers, we'll call them. So I'm sure a lot of this has probably been real players leaving, but we also know that real players were never really driving the economy or driving these metrics at the very least. A lot of it was bot accounts. I mean, I think most of us estimate there's anywhere between like 500 to 5,000, and even that is like, it hurts for me to say that because it's like there's no way, right, that we have 5,000 real people here. So clearly, when we were getting numbers in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, like if it's come down that much, we didn't have that many real human beings to lose in the first place to go from 50,000 daily active players to 13,000. And then if we just take this down to the last 7 days, we have a little bit of an outlier here with this 30,000 player day. But this average on the whole is under 20K now, right? And it'll probably be significantly under 20K once we get rid of this. So the question then becomes, well, how much can we actually burn? How effective will the permit be in terms of actually getting a ton of stuff burned? It's something that I'm obviously very excited about. And the truth is, obviously, it's all speculation right now, and we haven't even passed the proposal yet. But if I'm looking at this and on, a regular average day, there's going to be 13,000, accounts playing. And if all of the, we'll call them casual bot accounts, maybe some casual player accounts decide that they no longer want to participate in Wild, maybe they'll move over to Modern, maybe they won't, right? We'll probably see this number drop even more, which I know I'm not trying to present this as a way to be like, oh, all-time low, this is terrible. I look at it as, sure, we can call it all-time low, but we can also call it an accurate representation of the amount of people that are legitimately playing the game, right? So yes, bot accounts, for the most part, over the past 2 years, ever since the first ranked rewards update in this month, May of 2022, those accounts have been getting less and less incentivized to play over time. Now, yes, of course, you're going to have the same kind of incentives that disappear for people, but people play for different reasons too. And if you're just focused on the financial side, yeah, bots and humans from a financial perspective are always going to be the same thing, right? They're always going to have the same motivation. Let me try and make as much money as I possibly can. Let me try and maximize my returns. But for people, there is that added value of being able to, actually enjoy the game, try to strive for higher levels and get cool cards or whatever the case is, whatever it is that makes people tick. And everybody is different, right, in that sense. So I'm looking at this now, and when to take this back to the numbers, right? Matt's estimate was 15,000 players that could potentially buy into this wild season permit. There are days when we have less than 15,000 total. That includes modern, right? And my ranking in modern right now, I think I'm in gold 3 or gold 2, somewhere there. I'm not really playing, but I stopped playing at some, or like in the first day or so of the game or the season. And I haven't moved from like my gold 2 ranking, and I'm sitting at about 624. So I would guess that there's probably no more than 1,000 players in modern. And more so, there's probably people above me would probably be like what I would consider serious players, anybody in gold and above, because you already start seeing max level decks in silver. But if you just take a look at where I'm at, maybe like 600, 700 real, competitive players, we'll call it. And competitive doesn't mean max decks. I would consider myself a competitive player in modern. I'm just at the bottom kind of the barrel there. So, you take this back and it's just like, okay, well, 15,000, right? 15,000 would have burned 30 million DEC per season, 60 million DEC per month. I don't think that we're going to be burning any DEC anytime soon, even though that's something I'm excited for. I think vouchers will be the first place. And this is where it may get tricky, right? Because there's just so many vouchers and they're printed every day at a rate of 40,000 vouchers per day. And as long as vouchers stay well below, right, the soft peg that is outlined for them of 5 cents, we may not really make that much of a dent. So there is a risk there early on, especially if we see a mass exodus of either bots, players, or both. So I'm looking through this and I'm just like, okay, well, what if we go all the way down to the bottom? Like we take even a third of the 20% that Matt was at. Okay, so that's 5,000 players. That would be roughly 20 million DEC per month if we were to burn, that much per month. And then on the voucher side, right, if 15,000 players burning vouchers would cover the net of 40,000 vouchers per day, right, all of a sudden we'd be neutral. You take a third of that and we'd be at 13.3 thousand vouchers that would be burned every day, or at least the equivalent of every season. Again, that's not terrible. And I'm not trying to, create an end of the world scenario here, because the other way that I'm seeing this impacting vouchers first, and then we'll get to DEC, is if we do see a significant drop off in the amount of accounts playing in Wild, those rewards in Wild are going to be phenomenal. They're going to be comparable and competitive to Modern. And we may just see OGs that, are not really playing in Modern or maybe botting their accounts in Wild. If the returns get good, all of a sudden they're going to start paying for extra energy, probably with vouchers if vouchers remain low. So there's kind of like a two-sided approach here, which is beneficial, right? Now, again, I'm just looking at this from the voucher angle. I think we would need to get significantly more players. Actually, maybe not even significantly, but we need to make sure that we have 15,000 accounts paying for the wild season permit every month before we could really move over to DEC. But just to take a quick look at DEC, even if we were burning 20 million 20 million DEC per month additional to what we're doing now, that's an additional like 600,000 per month, right? It's an additional 60% to what the market is already performing. So ultimately, I still think that this could and will be a net positive for the ecosystem. I know it's been a very, very touchy subject as of late, but I implore people, right? Like either this is the last straw and you're going to sell out, and that's totally cool. I'm not trying to stop anyone or shame anyone. Like that's it. That's, it is what it is. There's been a lot of changes and people generally don't like change. I don't blame you if you haven't liked the changes, right? So either you're out, or if you're going to stay and stick around and find out, I implore you to just wait and see, right? Before we can all reserve judgment. And sure, I'm obviously being very optimistic. You can be pessimistic, but it's just like, if this is going to happen anyway, let's see how it works, because like I said earlier, there could be some pretty phenomenal unintended consequences where all of a sudden earning in Wild becomes very viable, right? And becomes very profitable for many people, that they go back to playing in Wild or turning on some bot accounts because it makes sense. And just keep in mind that every new account that comes in is going to have to pay those 40 vouchers or 2,000 DEC. So it's not, it's not insignificant. There will be a shift in the game economy here, one way or another. Either the metrics stay the same now, and we get a ton of stuff burnt, or the metrics go down significantly, and all of a sudden the rewards become really appealing for the folks that are still in the game. And that, we'll find a new equilibrium of maybe it's not 13,000 daily active accounts, maybe it's 8,000 daily active accounts. But either way, we're gonna find that, and then we're gonna hopefully grow from there, right? That will set the new baseline. And this is what I'm trying to get at too, because in a way, this wild season permit is a final straw for the bot, the bot deterrence, or whatever you want to call it, right? It's obviously not a bot ban, but all of these things for the past 2 years have been a bot deterrence, and not even bot deterrence. It's just like requiring ownership and stake within the ecosystem, right? So this to me is kind of like the final straw. Maybe there's something else that will come up in the future, but this is pretty much like a seasonally or monthly subscription that's going to be required. And so if that isn't the final nail in the coffin, I would be shocked to think about what would come next, right? Sure, there could be a bot ban for a while at some point in the future, but in terms of doing this from a top-down perspective, which I've always admired and respected the team for trying to do, right? Create an incentive-based approach rather than a hammer, right? Just trying to whack-a-mole everybody that doesn't fit within your guidelines. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens with this. Just taking a look at where the real player base is now, I think that this will shift the numbers, probably significantly. We've seen many massive impacts to the player base numbers every single time stuff like this has happened, going all the way back to exactly 2 years ago at the end of May 2022 when the Ranked Rewards update came in. So, it's been a long, brutal 2-year bear market pretty much, but, going from 500,000 daily active players, 500,000 plus to, I don't know where this goes, but maybe down to 5,000, right? That'll be a full 99% decrease, but at least we'll know what the real numbers are. And even though we've known kind of what the real numbers are for a while, we'll actually have the real numbers playing the game. And I think a lot of folks will share the sentiment that at least from there, we'll be able to start growing, right? We'll know that new participants coming into the ecosystem will be coming in for the right reasons and have the right motivation. And more importantly, we'll have the right kind of steps in terms of making sure they have the appropriate stake in the game, whether that's buying cards in Modern and SPS, or if they want to play in Wild, renting cards, and of course doing the Wild Season permit. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That is all I have for you guys in this video. Just want to share with you some of these numbers since we had not talked about them in a while. But otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.